Hey, are you fit and healthy from the inside out? Are you fit but fat? I wonder if you are like me, trying to figure out how to improve your body composition. As we age, things are a little different and we cannot train the same way we used to and expect the same results. Let's dive in today's topic on how to improve your body composition.
Welcome to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast, where we focus on discussing topics to help you burn fat, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. Transform the whole you from the inside out with the holistic method. Let's dive in. Here's your host, Debbie Potts.
Hey, are you an aging athlete? Are you over 40 and struggling to get your desired results? I understand your frustrations. If you're like me, you're trying to get your running back or your cycling back or whatever sport you love to do, and you just can't figure out what's missing in your performance gains. How is your training and fueling program working for you? That's what I do. I personalize your nutrition and health program for you based on a bunch of different things. We collect data, collect clues from nutritional therapy assessment, from a food log with symptoms. Look at your genetics. If you've done something as DNA Fit, look at blood chemistry panels. Let's look at functional lab tests as a Vibrant Wellness wheat zoomer to test if you have leaky gut and sensitivity to wheat, peptides in foods. Look at food sensitivity labs. And Dutch tests, look at your hormones. So we look at all these hidden internal sources of chronic stress that may be impacting your ability to burn fat, improve performance, and longevity. So if you want to talk about how we can personalize your fueling, training, and performance plan, let me know. Set up a discovery call. Head to my website, debbiepotts.net, and reach out. Set up a call and we can chat about how I can help you be the best version of yourself. So you can stop blaming the aging process and instead change your mindset that you're embracing the change, that we train differently in our 40s and up versus what you did when you're 20, 30-year-old. We need to adjust how we eat, when we eat, why and how, but also match our nutrition with our exercise program and add some more health building lifestyle habits into our day. I call this all the holistic method comprehensive coaching program, where I work on individualizing clients' nutrition, exercise, stress reduction, sleep, movement, time outside, digestion and gut health, hydration, and my favorite, happiness, play, and laughter. So if you want to know more how you can be your best self, live your best life, and perform your best, head to debbiepotts.net, schedule a discovery call with me, and we can get started on your new health building journey. You can be that amazing athlete and stop blaming the aging process. Hey, it's Debbie Potts. I am laughing to myself lately. Everyone is now in our industry on the protein bus. We went from keto to having just high fat diet towards fasting and keto and not prioritizing protein, going to OMAD, then working on 2 meals a day, intermittent fasting, that 16-8 to 24 hours to 72 hours. But what is everyone talking about now? Thanks to Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, muscle protein synthesis. And I just was listening to an interview with Dr. Gabrielle and Cynthia Thurlow, my two favorite ladies in this world, listening to Dr. Stacy Sims and reading all of her blogs. And I just finished her Menopause 2.0 program. And then I was listening to a podcast on my way home today with my friend Mike Mutzel, back in my hometown, Bellevue. He's in Kirkland. And actually knew him growing up, knew his parents. And he is saying the same thing as Brad Kearns. So funny, there's a trend here. What is the common theme? All of us that were doing, including myself, keto, low carb, fasting, intermittent fasting, OMAD, we are all metabolically healthy individuals that are fit and active. And Dr. Stacy Sims is probably laughing at all of us because everyone's coming around the other side going, oh, OMAD might not be good for us because I'm losing muscle. And if you are already low body composition, as a lot of these guys, as Brad Kearns and Mike Mutzel, and then if you are a female that's in the midlife, that we have lower hormones, and we'll talk about that more and more here as I dive into the research and sharing Dr. Stacy Sims information. We need to prioritize protein and we need to prioritize building muscle. And I can't wait. Dr. Gabrielle Lyon's new book should come out next week. I pre-ordered it. I don't know if I can get her on the show like I did in 2020. She was just getting out there, and now she's probably too big to have time to be on my little show. But what I think is a lessons learned, that it is an N=1 journey. And as I've been sharing all the past year, 2 years, 3 years here on this show, that I've been talking and even changed the name of the podcast from Low Carb Athlete because it gets confusing that I'm saying zero carbs. And it's about strategic carb timing around workouts when they are more anaerobic, and women may do better burning fat when they have some carbohydrates on pre-workout because we are less efficient at getting fat, lipid uptake into the cells, and we need some carbohydrates on board to get to our fat burning. So there's a lot to it, but I think it's pretty funny that we're all realizing that we are fit and active, that we do not do well fasting a long time and being so strict because we are active individuals who are metabolically healthy pretty much. And we lift weights, we do sprint training, we do cardio, and I was doing too much long, slow stuff. Now I'm trying to add in some interval training, and Brad Kearns has talked a lot about the sprint training. And it's fascinating that we're all kind of at the same time coming to the conclusion that this isn't working so well for me. What I've been saying the last few years is that this information out there on fasting is what Dr. Mindy is talking about, Dr. Mindy Pelz. They are working on people that are metabolically unhealthy, metabolic syndrome. And we need to take that into account, that metabolic syndrome people may benefit from having more fasting, and they might have more signs and symptoms of insulin resistance and too much fat. And they benefit from this excessive fasting and doing OMAD and cleaning up their body and their diet. So we need to remember, my goal of this show is to educate you, the fit and active individual, what we may need to adjust and how to translate the information out there for people to be healthy and improve longevity may be different for you that's already active. And this is what Dr. Stacy Sims have been saying for years, but I was always like, oh no, we don't need to eat that. We just need fat. And as I'm 51 years old and really trying to build muscle and fight this challenge that we get as our hormones get lower for female athletes, that I need to work harder to get the muscle on there by lifting heavy weights and eating protein throughout the day. And it's a lot of preparation to do that, to add in that 30, 50 grams of protein after I work out in the morning rather than not eating until 11 a.m. because that's when I break my fast. And then I was not eating 3 hours before bed, so I wasn't eating after 5 p.m., even though I'd go to the gym at night. That doesn't work with my personal goals of getting stronger, getting faster, getting leaner as I age. So we need to look at, yes, I can do fasting. I'm fat adapted. I'm metabolically efficient. But am I hitting the goals that I want? If I'm trying to change my body composition, I do need protein. And if you listen to Dr. Gabrielle, I always tell you it's 1 gram of protein per ideal pound of body weight. So if you want to weigh 125 pounds, 150 pounds, that's the goal for protein you need throughout the day, 30 to 50 grams maximum. Over 50 grams, different research is pretty much summary is that you don't use that. So you only take those doses spread out throughout the day. So doing a big, huge meal at once, OMAD, say 2 o'clock, you're only eating at 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock and you're binging and trying to hit all that protein. Well, you're not getting the little doses throughout the day to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. So that was my rant, observation, and what I've been working on, and what it's cracking me up that all these other friends that are in this community on their podcasts are saying, oh, I changed my mind. I'm not going to do any more fasting. I think we should go by Dr. Stacy Sims, who said 12 hours, that's good. If you're active, fit and active, 12 hours is good. 15 hours, but then save. As I worked for Ben Greenfield Coaching, we would just have people once a month, he'd say, do it on your non-busy day, do a longer fast. But I rather you do a bone broth fast where you're still getting that protein in and glutamine and helping your gut health. And I'm seeing this big, huge spider in front of me on the wall. So there's a lot to everything. I just think we need to individualize everything. And when you listen to all this information out there on podcasts and all these trends, and now thanks to Dr. Gabrielle, it's all about protein, muscle protein synthesis, and Stacy Sims is lifting weights. And it's really important to listen to your body, what you need, and investigate what is actually going on under the hood. Okay, I gotta go do something with this big, humongous spider. Coming back. Okay, I'm back. Still have this spider in front of me, but I'm going to focus. It's like a squirrel. Remember? Squirrel, stop, focus. All right, muscle protein synthesis, the word I can never say, MPS. What is it? Let's talk about that first. It's a process by which your body builds new muscle proteins. It is a crucial component of muscle growth and repair, particularly in response to activities as resistance training or other forms of exercise that create muscle damage. The overall goal of muscle protein synthesis is to create a positive protein balance in your muscles where the rate of protein synthesis exceeds the rate of protein degradation, resulting in muscle growth and repair. Now, leucine, Dr. Stacy Sims and Gabrielle Lyon, a lot of her research is on leucine, and this is not to be taken alone. It's an essential amino acid. It means your body cannot produce it on its own, must obtain it from dietary sources. Leucine plays a significant role in stimulating muscle protein synthesis, especially after your workout. So how does leucine come into play to stimulate MPS post-workout? So then we hear this word mTOR, and I think that got a bad rap because of AMPK pathways. Cell autophagy is what we get from fasting. So we were all about fasted, fed workouts and intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting to kill off the dead cells, which you can get from exercise and having coffee if you listen to Rob Wolf. So activation of mTOR pathway is building. It's not a bad thing. We want to be in breakdown, catabolic, kill off the dead stuff, but then we want to build new things, repair. So leucine is known to activate the key signaling pathway in muscle cells called mTOR. And that is the easiest way to say what mTOR is. Mammalian, a target, a rapamycin pathway. Phew, that's why everyone calls it mTOR. When leucine levels in the blood increase, mTOR signaling is triggered. mTOR is a central regulator of cell growth, including muscle cells, and it plays a pivotal role in initiating the process of MPS. Now, the initiation of translation, this means within the cells, mTOR activation helps initiate the translation phase of protein synthesis. During this phase, the genetic information stored in your DNA is used to build new proteins. Leucine's role in activating mTOR is critical for this translation process, and it helps to increase the assembly of ribosomes and other components necessary for protein production. So to enhance muscle protein synthesis, MPS, the activation of mTOR and subsequent translation phase triggered by leucine, the amino acid, leads to an increased production of new muscle proteins. This is especially important after resistance exercise because the muscle cells are in the state of heightened sensitivity to the anabolic muscle building effects of leucine. It's worth noting that while leucine is essential for stimulating MPS, it's not the only factor at play. Amino acids from protein sources and other nutrients and hormones also contribute to this process. Combining a balanced diet with adequate protein and leucine, along with proper post-workout nutrition, is essential for optimizing muscle growth and recovery. So we want to maximize muscle protein synthesis as we age. Post-workout, we want to consume a protein-rich meal. And this is where I like to have a shake, because post-workout, women, we have this 30-minute window, and men have a 5 to 12-hour window. So we females are different than men, that we need to have something post-workout. I'm never hungry. I think we're more in sympathetic fight or flight in post-workout. So having food that you have to digest is not going to be effective as having some simple shake, as Brad Kearns, I love his vanilla whey, grass-fed whey protein with creatine, because we need creatine for brain and muscle health. So getting that 5 grams of creatine with the whey protein, and whey has that amount of leucine in that protein amino acid profile we need. So we want to look for the amino acid profile, and I think some days in the next few years, we may see an amino acid profile on all foods, but you can probably see this on your shake mix, that it has 2 to 3 grams of leucine per meal, or the shake. So you're getting, say, that protein powder, and this is where vegans need to be really careful, that you're probably having to double the dose of your whey or your grass-fed, or what, not even grass-fed. If you're not doing grass-fed whey protein, you may need plant-based protein to get double, say 40 grams so 2 scoops of your protein powder. So it shows up that they're getting 2-3 grams of leucine. So it gets a little more complicated when you're vegan. And this is why I started eating meat again, because it doesn't work. So you can't eat enough food. You get too full to get the right amount of amino acids from a plant-based diet. Remember, I was a very plant-based person until a few years ago, but my L-carnitine was low, and I had low amino acids and low zinc and low iron and B12 and all this stuff. So I thought, I'm going to just eat meat, and I actually crave it now. So the importance of muscle protein synthesis is not just eating protein, but I love what Dr. Gabrielle is saying on her podcast, is that you eat. We all eat. 100% of us eat. I don't know how many people actually exercise. So she's focusing on what ideally you do, the nutrition and the lifting weights, to change your body composition and improve this MPS. But most people aren't going to exercise. You guys, we all exercise. But I think a lot of you don't do any strength training. I find most endurance athletes just focus on that and don't spend time in the gym, which you can have a home gym and do a good strength workout in 10, 20 minutes. So looking at muscle protein synthesis is about eating more protein, spreading it in those doses throughout the day. So you're doing 30 grams, 30 grams, 30 grams or more, and then maybe you have to have some extra. So you can listen to the previous podcast on essential amino acids. We have to do, say, 7 capsules of the Keon aminos equals, I think, 5 grams of protein. So you have to take a lot of capsules if you want to just take your protein in capsules. So that is what I wanted to share on muscle protein synthesis. Now, if we go to my blog page, Training the Athlete and the Female Athlete, we hear about less long, slow distance training as we get older. And I think this is for men and women. We've done this a long time, but women are just naturally born to do more endurance. It's where we are comfortable, just genetically, gender-wise, we do better at endurance. So what we find as we age is that we get slower, get puffier. We're feeling fatter, slower. And I think this is men and women. And this is why I keep saying it's not blaming the aging process. Is maybe we're not as active as we used to, but it's also changing how we train, embracing the aging process, and not doing the same program we did before we were age 40, when females are, I think a lot of my adrenal exhaustion, I started 41, 42 years old when I started coming apart. And I look back at everything I'm learning now and go, oh, geez, maybe it wasn't just adrenal exhaustion. Maybe it was a combination, which we say as FDN practitioners, metabolic chaos. Crazy that it was probably low hormones, perimenopausal chronic stress. I probably had all my cortisol and thyroid hormones and everything was low. And so everything started to have imbalances and domino effect of health issues. So nowadays, what we want to do is heavy strength training, HIIT training. Maybe it's in that workout, sit training or sprint interval training, and plyometrics. Now, those can be combined, and Dr. Stacy Sims shared some research that resistance training alone will change your lean body mass. Doing sprint HIIT training and sit training will change your body composition and help you burn fat, not necessarily change your body composition. It's a combination of the two. We can help increase that fat removal by doing the interval training. Now, when we want to change our body composition, we want to do heavy resistance training plus HIIT and sit plus plyometrics. Now, when I'm in the gym, my plyometrics are my HIIT, if that makes sense. So if I'm doing box jumps, rope slams, ball slams, I'm doing plyometrics, but I'm also doing HIIT and trying to get my heart rate up into zone 4 or 5. Sometimes I might just zone 3. Now, what is HIIT versus sit training? High intensity interval training versus sprint interval training. It's a low volume workout session. So stop doing all the long, slow distance weekday workouts. Save that for the weekend. Maybe finish with some sprints at the end. But we don't need to do as much long, slow distance stuff as we used to, especially me, my female people. Low volume workout session, no more than 20 minutes, or you're not doing HIIT and sit training. So you warm up, warm down. Your workout shouldn't be more than 30 minutes, 45 minutes if you do the warm up and cool down. So 20 minutes of intervals. And that means high intensity interval training is 1 minute. Sprint interval training is 1, she says 0, but 1 to 30 seconds. So say you're doing 10 to 30 second sprint, zone 5, hard as you can. And then you get down to zone 1 and listen to my podcast interviews on YouTube channel with Daniel Crumbach to learn about what are your true training zones with our Pinoy metabolic testing I do. So HIIT training is longer than sit. It's a 1 minute up to 4 minutes, no more than 5 minutes. That's not a HIIT interval. So say you're doing 1 minute repeats of something that's getting your heart rate up to your zone 4, bottom of zone 5, recovery down to zone 1. So that could be when you're doing some weightlifting exercises, you're recovering, or core mobility drills, and then you go back and you do another set of some strength or HIIT, like a rope slam or doing jump rope or the box jumps, something, burpees, speed skaters, different things like that. So we've got sit training, and that's short, sprint all out. Now, I must say, you want to look at what your goal is. If you're trying to help with metabolic homeostasis, your blood sugar levels, and cardiovascular fitness, there's different reasons why you might want to do more HIIT or you might want to do more sit training or a little bit of both each week. Now, we want to make sure you do a hard workout as this. The next 2 days, you might need to do easy workouts. That's where you do your long, slow distance, shorter workout, or a recovery, mobility day, yoga, walking, an easy swim by yourself, not masters. So the sit training is super intense. It's long recovery and short bursts. And I did that on the bike ride today. We did an hour bike ride, warm up, and then it's hilly, kind of rolling hills, which is my favorite course to do some sprints. And then I did some warm up pickups with 20 seconds and easy. And then on the turnaround, coming back, except for the downhills are going to be more recovery. And then I would look at my watch and just go hard 20, 30 seconds. And it should be that intensity that you're looking at your watch going, oh my God, this is the longest 20 seconds ever. And same with the minute. You keep looking, going, okay, I'm almost there. So that's when you know you're pushing it enough. So there's super maximal efforts, intensity of 100% power output, peak oxygen uptake, so top end of your zone 5. Work intervals, as I said, 10 to 30 seconds with variable rest is a goal. Rest enough to hit the next interval pace. So if you're not taking a long recovery in between there, all the way down zone 1, you're not going to be able to get the heart rate back up again. So it's quality over quantity. And your sit training is not 5-minute long intervals. They're short with longer recovery. So example was every 2 minutes, you do a 20-second sprint, and then you do a minute 40 easy. So on the 2 minutes, you go hard 20 seconds. So you go hard and then recover, and that improves your fast twitch muscle fibers, top end anaerobic capacity, so you can pull more glucose into the muscle cell without the need of insulin. So that's where we talk about mTOR. And what we're doing for the female menopausal athletes is taking exercise as a solution for the struggles we have with the loss of estrogen and progesterone. And lower progesterone will help with insulin resistance. So when we are lowering our hormones through this middle transition period of our life to our second half of our life, where we want to be thriving, not struggling, and not getting fat and frumpy and lazy and tired and grumpy, we need to do the sprint interval training to work on those benefits that make up for that loss of estrogen. So what estrogen used to do for us, and I'm going to have my friend Dr. Alexis come on the show to talk about what does estrogen do for us and progesterone, and then I'll talk about what we're supposed to do to make up for that loss of hormones, which is the sit and HIIT training. So then we want to look at the HIIT trainings are more effective in reducing abdominal fat, as I said. If you want to increase lean mass, the resistance training will help increase muscle mass and the bone density. But if you want to have increased lean body mass and reduce total fat mass, you need to add the resistance and the HIIT training together to change your body composition. I see people in the gym doing the same workout every morning. I see people sitting on the machines, sitting watching their phone, reading messages, playing games, or scrolling social media, and not doing a quality workout. So if you are struggling getting the results you want from your workout, I would work with a coach, and I can help you if you're looking for a coach, but work with someone that can create a program that's based on your needs, goals, and interests and time availability. So Dr. Stacy Sims talks about a difference for men and women, but I think men and women do need to change how we work out to work on not losing muscle as we get older, because we see that as people get sarcopenia as they get older, and see how your parents age and their friends, you can notice what happens when you don't use it, you lose it. So we hear about the HIIT training. The fear of it is increasing your hormone cortisol. And that elevated cortisol increases your fat storage. So what should we do if we are stressed out already? And what should women do if they're already having low progesterone levels, feeling a little more stressed and anxious? Now, this is what I think is fascinating, because we endurance athletes, we tend to go for the long, slow distance training, that's me, but a lot of you are still doing the dead black hole training, that zone 3, that's too hard to be easy, too easy to be hard. And you're training in zone 3 all your workouts, not getting a lot of benefit from it. I see this all the time for like 20 years. So we want to look at HIIT training. It does increase cortisol for men and women, not just menopausal women. Cortisol levels stimulate some of the free fatty acids and release and help. They break down the fat tissue. Now, fat storage is stimulated if you don't fuel correctly. So if you don't eat around your workout, for women especially, this research Stacy Sims talks about, fueling correctly as cortisol stimulates fat storage, and the dosage of protein post-workout for women, later for men, you will increase fat storage because of the stimulation of cortisol. So we need to eat. That's going back to what I was ranting about, the fasting, and how all the research for metabolic health and fasting benefits are not for us, the fit and active individual, actually putting in the time, lifting heavy weights, doing their cardio training, doing their zone 2, and doing their zone 5 intervals. HIIT training is important for epigenetic changes so your body can use fuel better. So using carbohydrates, getting the HIIT training will help you get the glucose out of the bloodstream into the muscle, shuttling it in with the benefit of GLUT4 that opens the gate to get the glucose in the cell and gets your blood sugar in balance. But we want to reduce that fat storage. So we need that HIIT training for women. The dosage and timing post-exercise is talked about on Dr. Stacy Sims' blog, but the body needs nutrition post-workout after a hard session to stimulate anabolism, to lower cortisol, and to refuel to help the fitness gains we're looking for post-workout. So really important message there. Dosage and timing post-exercise, we want to get out of this breakdown catabolic state. So if you're trying to change your body composition, not eating anything, exercising more, eating less is actually not helping you. It's actually causing you low energy availability, could be related to slowing your thyroid down, and your cortisol is up. So you might have more adrenal issues. So anabolism is building. We want to stimulate building up post-workout, and that will help lower cortisol and help us refuel for the future workouts. Really, really important. We have to plan ahead. I know it's hard. I tend to not eat before and after workout. And this is what I'm working on because I don't like the body composition changes I'm experiencing. So I'm doing this personally. HIIT training for peri and postmenopausal women. We need high interval training to stimulate these changes in the muscle fiber, muscle tissue, to pull that carbohydrate into the muscle cell, as I said, to gain more insulin sensitivity. So this is why we're saying do the HIIT, do the resistance training within a workout, combine it together with the plyometrics, and then post-workout you have that protein, 30, 40 grams, even 20 grams, and maybe if you did more anaerobic, you have some berries in that shake, and that will help you kickstart your anabolism building. We want to rebuild. So we want resistance training. We want high intensity in the sprint interval training sessions with some plyometrics and some endurance training, but less is more. We already know how to do that long, slow distance. So if you're trying to fit in your weekday workouts, we want to look at that minimal effective dose, prioritize our nutrition, getting those protein goals in throughout the day. So we're stimulating muscle protein synthesis and changing that body composition. You actually will be fuller and more satisfied if you're getting that protein and healthy fats, because we still want to build the hormones, but we're talking today about the muscle health and building muscle and improving our lean tissue and lowering our fat tissue. So if we prioritize heavy weights, doing the resistance training with a combination of maybe a HIIT finisher at the end and adding some plyometrics in there, or maybe you're doing little exercise snacks throughout the day by, I have stairs to come up here, sprints up the stairs if I did that, or a set of jump rope for 1 minute, maybe micro doses of it throughout the day, but improving your body composition that way. So just a few more notes. Less is more for the aging female endurance athlete, as we are born to be more efficient at long, slow distance, endurance, zone 2, maffetone type of workouts. And at this point in our lives, living our second half of our life to be the best half of our life, we may gain more benefits by doing less volume. So my workouts in the weekday, I might swim at lunchtime, and we just had a 400 and a 200 and then 1650s, and then it was a 400 and 200. And I, instead of did long, slow distance 400, I did fast, slow. And that's how I snuck it in some interval training. Doing some sprints. I did my bike. I didn't do an hour and a half, 2 hour bike ride as I used to always do, because I used to go in the afternoons, but now we bike in the morning and the daylight is shorter. So adding in those intervals, not doing all the zone 2 training I did for years. Men, you might need more zone 2. Women, menopausal, we need to change how we train. So we need to work on what is lost, lack of hormones, heavy weights, HIIT, sit, and plyometrics. We want that neuromuscular fast contraction. We need that stimulus that we lost with the loss of estrogen. We don't have that strong stimulus, so that's why we need the combination of heavy weights and the HIIT and the plyometrics to improve bone mineral density and improve insulin sensitivity and, of course, the body composition. So remember, the long, slow endurance training, as this shows usually for endurance athletes, does not help us with these changes. It is not beneficial for us to change body composition for the female athlete, age 42 and older. When you're 10 years before menopause, which I'm 51, I'd probably be like 55 by hit menopause, who knows. But it's the long, slow distance is not beneficial for us to change your body composition. So don't do more cardio to lose weight, it probably won't work for you. It's not one size fits all, but I'm just saying. If you've been doing it, it's not working, you already know the answer there. So if you want to improve your bone mineral density, as everyone says, you get older, you loss of estrogen, we're going to have less bone density. Well, here's your option, plyometrics. And blood sugar control. If you get your insulin checked, your A1C, your fasted glucose, look at your markers. If you have glucose high in the morning or throughout the day, if your blood sugars just levels higher, you may also get your insulin tested for $10, $15 and see what that is to make sure we're not doing more fasting necessarily as athletes. That will work for other people. But I think for us athletes, we just need to help our blood sugar control, our glucose homeostasis by doing the exercise. So the more muscle you have, the more lean tissue you have, the larger your suitcase. If you listen to Gabrielle Lyon talks about the suitcase size, we can, if you're going on vacation and you get a small suitcase, but you overpack it and you pack for a month when you're going for a weekend, well, that glucose has nowhere to go. So you need more storage. So yes, eat less carbohydrates, but storing the glucose into your muscle will help for our glucose homeostasis. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. That's kind of what I'm focusing on. I'm working on, if I have interest on a new female, I don't know the right name for it, transition, midlife, second half of your life, your best life. I'm working on the title, but just a 30-day program. I like to do 6-week, but most people do well with a 4-week program, and do a group of 20, 30 ladies who want to make the changes as we're talking today and work together. So traditional training modalities and programming do not work well. With the changes in estrogen and progesterone, our body needs exercise stress to make up for the responses the hormones once used to do for us, for the females. High-intensity interval training is effective for changing body composition, improving glucose control, and cardiovascular function. Plyometric jump training causes the changes we need to improve metabolic function of the muscle cells and improve rapid nerve firing for strong contraction. And then Dr. Stacy Sims is teaching us all of this on the female athlete. Resistance training is about strength. She says 0 to 6 reps, but I don't know why I say 0, because it should be 1 to 6 reps of heavy reps, not about hypertrophy, which is 8+ rep range. We want less than 8 reps. Last few should be challenging. I can't lift another one by 5-6 reps. That is recreating that muscle force that we need with the lack of estrogen. So less power production and muscle synthesis as we age. So we want to embrace the changes and train for power, not endurance, on the bike, on the running, on your treadmill, when you're running outside, and in the gym. We got to change how we train. So Dr. Stacy Sims says again, train for power, not for endurance. Our bodies are already used to doing endurance. We already predisposed to burning more fatty acids as females. Estrogens build power, speed, and glucose. So when we lose those hormones, estrogen, progesterone, when they get lower, we stop getting these benefits. So we want to build power and speed and glucose differently because estrogen is not there. So we want to not do the long, slow training to change your body composition. We don't want to overtrain in zone 3. You need to go zone 1, zone 5, or zone 1, top of zone 4, and do that combination with the heavy weightlifting, 1 to 5 repetitions. Pick 5 exercises. You do 5 sets of them. You do that 2 to 3 times a week. You do your long bike ride and your long run if you're doing Ironman type of training, but then you're doing quality over quantity, less volume. And maybe you keep your heart rate down, and then the last end, you do some 20-second sprints to the finish. Just work on picking it up. So lots and lots of information I've saved in blogs. And this one is debbiepotts.net, training the female athlete. So we want to work on training hard, but recover harder, and work on what is good for us. Zone 2, to develop fat burning, the aerobic engine, use more fatty acids, develop that intramuscular fat storage, may not be the same when our estrogen is lower, because estrogen is used to help us fuel and we don't have the estrogen, if it's lower, like mine's been for years, it is not working to help me improve my fat oxidation. So we need to do different type of training. The HIIT training, sprints in that workout, warm up, cool down, short and sweet. Longer endurance training, the longer elevation of cortisol. So that long, slow stuff we've been doing when we have lower estrogen, progesterone might be causing us to stimulate cortisol and store more body fat. So we use and store more fat as we age with this hormone flux. So we can change this by changing how we train. Get your labs done, get your full thyroid panel, DHEA, do some blood sugar testing, track your heart rate variability with a heart rate strap on, train for power instead of endurance, and let's change how we train when we have our body changing. So less strong training, more intervals, quality over quantity, go hard, recover harder. And if you want more, head to my website, debbiepotts.net. I have some easy options for you, training programs. I have an assessment that I talked about earlier. And then there's accountability, just using Training Peaks. And I just check on it every week. And we talk once a month. And we do that for 6 months or more. So check out the different options and head to Paleo Valley to get some great quality protein and getting some good quality creatine and some essential amino acids at Keon. So both of those, you can use my code LowCarbAthlete and support the show. And hopefully this helps you learn more of how you can improve your body composition, how you can stimulate muscle protein synthesis, and how you can improve your body composition by changing how you fuel and train, and also maybe change your fasting window so you're hitting those protein goals and stimulating that muscle protein synthesis and hitting those protein doses throughout the day, not all at once. All right. Hope you are enjoying this information as I am going down so many rabbit holes and sharing what I'm doing with you. So send in your questions, comments, and also if you can share this podcast with someone else you know that might be struggling, trying to figure out how to fuel, train, perform their best as an aging athlete, because I see a lot of people training the wrong way and eating the wrong way. So I'm here to help. That's what I'm doing. Thank you. Hey, my fellow aging endurance athletes, just a reminder, if you like what you listened to today, make sure to share this episode with your community. Head to debbiepotts.net to set up a free discovery call to learn more about my personalized coaching programs, especially if you are on a mission as myself to improve the aging process and start training to be my best self when I am 80, 90 years old. So I am on a mission to live my best life and be my best self the second half of my life. So if you're on the same mission as me, head over to my website and YouTube channel to learn more ways to improve the whole you from the inside out with the holistic method.
Thanks for listening to the Low Carb Athlete Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, let us know on Facebook or at debbiepotts.net. You can help us continue and grow by leaving a review on iTunes. Thanks again, and see you next time.